Summer's back at Cousins, and so is all the chaos. Season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty takes us through heartbreak, growing up, and tough choices as Belly, Jeremiah, and Conrad finally face where their love story is headed. But after everything, who does Belly end up with, and why? Belly is starting her new life at Finch College. Yep, she's in college now. Her family helps her move in, and we find out Taylor's at the same school, still tangled up in that on-again, off-again thing with Steven. 3 years later, Jeremiah's about to graduate, and Belly's stressing about being without him. Laurel calls, saying there's a dedication ceremony for Susanna and Cousins, and both boys are giving speeches. Conrad's now in med school doing therapy and doing great, while Belly's studying sports psychology after hurting her knee. At college, Belly finds out Jeremiah hooked up with someone in Cabo while they were on a break, and that's where things blow up. In a flashback, Belly sees a flight confirmation on Jeremiah's laptop and realizes he's going to Cabo for spring break without telling her. They argue. Back in the present, Belly's heartbroken and ignores all of Jeremiah's texts. We then see a flashback to Cousins after Christmas. Belly's there alone when Conrad unexpectedly shows up. They spend a cozy day together. In the present, Laurel reconnects with her ex-husband John at a conference, and they end up spending the night together. At med school, Conrad starts his summer job but loses his internship after a mistake. Meanwhile, Steven and Taylor get into a fight during a late-night drive, and their car gets hit by a truck. Belly and Taylor rush to the hospital. Steven's sedated but stable, and Taylor admits she loves him. Later, Belly finds Jeremiah in the hospital lobby. They talk, decide to start fresh, and in a shocking twist, Jeremiah proposes. Belly says yes. Belly tells Taylor the big news, but Taylor's not thrilled. At Stanford, Conrad talks to Agnes about finding another summer job after losing his internship. Belly packs up her dorm and drives home with her dad, almost catching him slipping about spending the night with Laurel's. Taylor later visits Belly, apologizes, and agrees to be her maid of honor. When she leaves, she runs into Steven, who's distant. At lunch in Cousins, Belly and Jeremiah announce they're getting married. The reactions? Total chaos. Laurel, Steven, and Adam all freak out, calling it a terrible idea. The lunch is canceled and everyone heads home, while Conrad just sits there, speechless. It's been 2 weeks since the family lunch meltdown, and 4 weeks until the wedding. Jeremiah's doing an internship with his dad, while Belly's working shifts at a restaurant. It's also her birthday. Belly goes dress shopping with Taylor and finally finds the dress, though she's hurt her mom isn't there. That night, Jeremiah shows up with cake, flowers, and a key to the summer house. But the visit ends in a huge fight between Belly and Laurel, pushing Belly to move out. Belly and Jeremiah drive to Cousins, only to find Conrad already there. Things get tense fast. Conrad secretly books a flight out, but before leaving, he bakes Belly birthday treats and agrees to be best man. She hugs him, and he silently regrets everything. At Adam's office, Jeremiah's working hard to prove himself. Taylor arrives to pick him up for Cousins, but ends up bumping into Steven. Their awkward reunion gets cut short when Taylor gets a call. Her mom's salon inspection got moved up, so she can't go. That leaves only Belly, Jeremiah, and Conrad for the 4th of July weekend. Belly is biking into town for wedding errands, and Conrad spots her struggling with shopping bags and offers her a ride. Steven and Denise bond on a train ride to New York and discover they're both attending the same gaming convention. Back at Cousins, Conrad and Belly spend the day running wedding errands, laughing, and reminiscing. When Jeremiah finally arrives, he brings the big news about Adam's wedding offer to pay for it and to host it at his club. Belly and Jeremiah are waking up at Adam's house, where they've been staying for 2 weeks. They convince him to let Jeremiah skip work for the morning so they can apartment hunt. Belly meets Paige, who's planning the wedding at Adam's club. Meanwhile, Steven and Denise are getting closer at work, and she even pitches starting a gaming company with him. Laurel finally shows up for Belly's bridal shower, bringing her passport as a honeymoon gift. But during a game about Jeremiah, Belly gets one of his childhood memories wrong, and later learns from Jeremiah that Conrad was actually the one who found their old dog, Rosie. At the guys' suit fitting, Adam reveals he's seeing Kaylee. Jeremiah shrugs it off, but Conrad's clearly upset, remembering his dad's affair with her. Back at Cousins, Conrad cuts his leg surfing, and Belly patches him up. But before we continue, if you like this video, hit like and subscribe for more recaps and updates on your favorite shows. Jeremiah arrives at Cousins with just 3 days left until the wedding. At the house, friends arrive for the bachelor and bachelorette parties. Later, Jeremiah tells Conrad that Adam offered him a full-time job for the fall. Belly gets tipsy and learns it was actually Conrad who convinced Laurel to attend the wedding. At Jeremiah's party, his friends drunkenly bring up his spring break hookup with Lacey, and Conrad overhears. Belly waits on the beach, but Jeremiah never shows. Conrad does. He admits he still loves her and never stopped. Belly tells him he'll never be what Jeremiah is to her, then runs off crying. Belly wakes up still shaken, and Jeremiah leaves her a voicemail saying he's out boating with his dad. She's surprised to find Conrad still in the house. He apologizes for confessing his feelings and asks her to forget it ever happened. Belly admits to herself she'll never fully let Conrad go, but decides she can't risk everything for him. That night, unable to sleep, Belly goes for a swim and finally confesses to Jeremiah about what happened with Conrad. The next morning, Jeremiah disappears. Conrad finds him in Susanna's garden and things explode. Jeremiah punches him. Conrad later visits Belly in the dressing room to say goodbye and tells her it was all worth it, even if it hurts. Then Jeremiah confronts Belly, revealing he knows about Christmas with Conrad. The wedding's canceled. Belly packs up, leaves her keys at the cousin's house, and heads to the airport. She buys a ticket to Paris, but just before boarding, she spots Conrad across the terminal. She's about to walk up to him, but at the last second, she turns away and boards her flight to Paris. On the plane, Belly quietly removes her engagement ring. When she lands in Paris, she heads to the study program she thought she'd gotten into, only to learn it was a mistake. There's no spot for her. Meanwhile, Jeremiah isolates himself, ignoring everyone, even Laurel. In Paris, Belly's bag is stolen, and she tracks it to an underground party. There, she meets Gemma, a kind stranger who helps her retrieve it. Back home, Taylor tells Steven everything about Conrad, about Jeremiah's cheating, and they finally admit their feelings for each other. In Paris, Belly tells her new friends her story, then calls Jeremiah to say she's staying to find herself. 3 months have passed. Belly is living in Paris. She's sharing a cramped apartment, juggling 2 jobs, and studying online. On Thanksgiving, Belly video calls Taylor, who's throwing a Friendsgiving with Steven. She says she won't be home for Christmas and invites Taylor to Paris for New Year's instead. Back home, Jeremiah's numbing his heartbreak with random hookups. When Adam shows up at the party, he discovers Jeremiah dropped out of school and cuts him off financially. Conrad writes Belly a Christmas letter. At Cousins, Steven and Conrad reconnect, but tension rises when Adam sabotages Steven and Denise's startup funding. Jeremiah shows up but can't face everyone, and Laurel convinces him to forgive and move on, then drags him to her Christmas party. After Christmas, Taylor visits Belly in Paris. They throw a New Year's Eve party with Benito, where Belly gets a package from Conrad. Encouraged by Taylor, Belly finally lets go of her fear and kisses Benito at midnight. Months later, Belly considers staying in Paris for a sports psychology opportunity. Elsewhere, Jeremiah and Conrad meet at Susanna's grave and finally talk. They admit they both broke her promise to take care of each other. Conrad later writes Belly again, then accepts an invite to a medical conference in Brussels. As he boards his flight, Belly gets ready for her birthday, walks into a salon, and says she wants something new, something fresh for the summer. The finale begins with Conrad arriving in Paris. He spots Belly, then nervously approaches after Benito leaves. The two spend the day sightseeing, catching up, and sharing quiet moments that bring back old feelings. Back home, Jeremiah is prepping for a big dinner meant to launch his chef career. Taylor organizes the event, while Steven and Denise reveal they got seed funding for their startup and are moving to California. In Paris, Belly invites Conrad to her pre-birthday dinner with friends. He admits he changed his flight just to see her. We learn Belly broke up with Benito 6 weeks earlier. At Cousins, the dinner goes well, and Jeremiah surprises everyone with his dishes. Denise comforts him when his insecurities show, and the two end up kissing. In Paris, Belly and Conrad walk home after dinner. They dance under the city lights, remembering prom night, and finally kiss. Back at her apartment, they sleep together. When Conrad leaves, Laurel sends Belly an old photo from her 3rd birthday, sparking a realization she's still that same girl who's always loved him. Belly races to the train station, finds Conrad, and tells him she chooses him. Always has, always will. They kiss and say, "I love you." The final scenes show Belly and Conrad back at Cousins, happy and together again. Season 3 ends with Belly finally choosing Conrad after years of back and forth. In Paris, she realizes that despite everything, heartbreak, distance, and self-discovery, her feelings for him never faded. The final montage confirms they're officially together again, happy and mature, returning to Cousins Beach while photos of their Paris Christmas play. It's a full circle ending. Belly found herself abroad, but ultimately realized home, for her, was always Conrad. So after everything Belly's been through, Paris, heartbreak and all, do you think she really made the right choice by ending up with Conrad? Leave a comment down below.